Good morning and welcome to a little Wednesday action here at Palmasola Park, the only Wednesday that we've currently got slated up until the very end, where we'll have action here in the FGCL. And we've got one of two. Our 9:30 games were rained out because of some storms last night. They spent all morning making sure the field was in proper condition to play. So we've got a doubleheader here at Palmasola, and we start things off with a great battle. The undefeated Anna Maria Aquanauts, 4-0 on the summer, will be the home team against the 3-1 Siesta Key Phinz, coming off of really the wildest game so far in the FGCL, a 12-10 win yesterday against the Pioneers. Glad that you're with us here on the ACL Network. Gray Robertson here up in the booth. Producer Gracie is down umpiring today and helping out with all that kind of stuff. And she's getting the lowdown from our home plate ump about positioning and everything she needs to know. So we've got her down there scoring and umpiring. I'm up here in the booth, and here is the starting lineup for the 4-0 Anna Maria Aquanauts. Again, trying to stay undefeated. You've got a battle on field 2 between a couple undefeated squads coming up at 2:30. Jada Thomas, the right fielder, will lead things off with Cassidy McClellan, the DP, batting second. Gracie Flores, second base, is in the 3 spot. Emily Borison, the extra hitter, is cleaning up after a great game yesterday. Sydney Schiller's in center, batting 5th. Caroline Patterson, the catcher's in the 6th spot. Skylar Young, third base, bats 7th. Gracie Scott, the first baseman, is in the 8 hole. Elena Ball, the left fielder, bats 9th. And in the 10 spot is Maddie Johnson, the shortstop. And they will face in the circle the left-handed pitcher, sophomore last year for Pittsburgh, out of Buford, Georgia, Amari Braden. Braden on the year has a 6.30 ERA. She's gone 6 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, 8 walks, and 3 strikeouts for Braden. And Braden is in the circle for the Phinz as they try and knock out the Anna Maria Aquanauts here in the first of 2, right at about noon Eastern here on this Wednesday, June 18th. The incoming freshman going to Jacksonville, Jada Thomas, will start things for the Aquanauts. And here's the first pitch to the Wesley Chapel, Florida native. That rolls in for ball 1. Thomas hitting .250, 2 of 8. Couple RBIs, a double, runs scored, 333 OBP. Two and 0. And there's ball 4, so the leadoff walk for Thomas. We'll get the nonsense business here in the first. Defense for the Phinz. Out on left is Whitted. In center, you got Vukadinovich. Morgan is in right. Jesse Taylor at third. Palante at short. Sanchez at second. Franzen at first. And Ford behind the plate. And a first pitch strike to the Florida Gator, Cassidy McClellan. Who had a home run yesterday, now hitting .400. Was really great in the win over the Impact. 4 of 10 with 5 RBIs, a couple bombs, a double, and 4 runs scored. That change held on too long, 1-1. McClellan out of Lakewood Ranch. Takes that rise high, 2-1. That is striped foul. Full count. Braden looking for the first out of the top of the first. Payoff. McClellan will take ball 4. Runner was going. And back-to-back walks. And in steps Gracie Flores. Right here in the 3 spot. She has been really great for the Knots early this summer. Redshirt freshman last year for Louisiana Tech out of Berthoud, Colorado. Hitting .500 with 4 RBIs. All singles. Does have a walk, so a nice 545 OBP. It's a good stop by Maddie Ford behind the dish. Keeping the speedy Thomas at second base. Braden right now looking for the strike zone. Trying to get an out. Got in on the hands, 2-2. Braden did not throw this past year for Pitt. Has thrown in her college career. But the Phinz, a little in need of arms. And so Braden, who's got pitching experience, getting a little bit more work here this summer. Now the payoff to Flores. That is hit towards second, and it's briefly muffed and then recovered. There's the out, 1 down. So a productive out for Flores. Both runners move, 1 out. And in steps the red-hot Emily Borison. Currently looking for a new home from Indiana River State College. She'll take ball 1. Entered yesterday's game without a hit this summer. Now the average is up to 375 with 3 RBIs, a couple doubles, a run scored. 3 of 8 after a 3-for-3 performance against the Impact. And Ford will go have a word with Braden. So after the timeout, Braden misses away. 3-0. Outer edge given, 3-1. You got Bryn Baca over in the third base coaching box, head coach for the Aquanauts. Back again this summer, trying to get the Knots back to the title game. Borison rolled over to second. A run will score, but there's 2 out. So Thomas is in. McClellan stands on third. 2 outs for Sidney Schiller. He's portaling from Texas Tech. Jordanton, Texas native, takes it high for ball 1. There's ball 4. McClellan will head back. It ricocheted very quickly, but a 4-pitch walk will send Schiller to first base. And they're on the corners for the Aquanauts. And Schiller, I have to assume, will take off fairly early here. Runner goes. The throw down is in time. Or not in time, rather. And there you go. Schiller's got the stolen base. It's her second of the summer. And a 1-0 count on the MVP, Caroline Patterson. Now 2-0. Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, who won the FGCL MVP in 2024 when the Knots made that run to the championship. Macon, Georgia native, hitting .500, 5 of 10 with 3 RBIs, 3 doubles, 7 runs scored. That is popped up and into foul ground, 2-2. Well, Braden can get out of this pretty lengthy top of the first with just the 1-run scoring. That'll be a pretty big win. A lot of 3 ball counts, but nothing hard hit as of yet for the Knots. (3-2). Ball 4. So Patterson draws her 4th walk of the summer. That's 4 this inning, and they're loaded. And I think the Phinz are going to call time. So they're loaded for the UNC Tar Heels. Skylar Young will take strike one. Young from Fayetteville, North Carolina. 333 on the year, 3 of 9 with a couple RBIs, 3 runs scored, 1 double, 500 OBP, has walked 3 times and just lost the tie for the team lead in that stat after Patterson just walked. One and two. Bases loaded for the Aquanauts, trying to put up a big number here in the first. Braden went change. Young on the ground to second base, backhanded and thrown over from Mariah Sanchez, and that is a really good job by Braden, even though there were difficulties in that inning. 4 walks, only 1 run in, and we go to the bottom of the first. 1-0. Phinz will come to the plate when we come back. So as we go to the bottom of the first, here's the starting lineup for the Siesta Key Phinz, coached by the Hall of Famer Mickey Dean. And we'll give you the lineup after this first pitch from Cam Ponick, who's been a real bright spot for the Aquanauts in the circle so far this summer. First pitch ball to Alexis Morgan. Ponick, out of North Florida. Sophomore last year, the righty from Parker, Colorado. Morgan slapped to third, and the catch is made for the first out. And Alexis Morgan is in the portal, grounds out. Ponick is 2-0 on the summer with a 2 ERA, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs both earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Alexis Morgan, the right fielder, just led off with a ground out. Now here is the Pittsburgh Panther and the pitcher, Amari Braden, in the 2 spot. Ball 1. Batting third for the Phinz, you got Jesse Taylor, the third baseman. Paige Vukadenovich, who's been an RBI machine, is cleaning up. Mariah Sanchez, second base, bats 5th. Maddie Ford, the catcher's in the 6th spot. Abby Sars, the DP, bats 7th. Lily Palante is at short, batting 8th. Faith Whitted, left field's in the 9 spot, and Michaela Franzen, first baseman, will turn things over, batting 10th. With Braden out of Buford, trying to start things for the Phinz offense. That's fouled. Braden this summer hitting .231, 3 of 13 with 3 RBIs. A double, 4 runs scored, and 4 stolen bases. So when she gets on, that speed really shows out. And when she smokes it out to center, it might get out of here. Amari Braden, with one swing, ties this game and helps herself out. All even at 1 here in the first. Man, just got something elevated, and she ripped it. I'll give us a moment to give you the defense for the Aquanauts in case you missed it. Balls in left, Schiller in center, Thomas in right, Young at third, Johnson at short, Flores at second, Scott at first, and Patterson behind the plate. And the first pitch is fouled off by Jesse Taylor for strike 1. One and one to Jesse Taylor, the Mercer Bear, redshirt junior out of Dallas, Georgia. Started her career at Wallace State. Hitting .357 this summer, 5 of 14 with a couple RBIs. Change fooled her 1 and 2. Didn't miss by much, 2 and 2. Ball 4. So Jesse Taylor draws the walk right after the home run. And in steps the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, Paige Vukadinovich, who's just been rip-roaring. 7 RBIs on 6 of 13 hitting, .462 average here this year. And she sends that to center. Schiller will watch it drop, and that's a very quick first pitch single for Vukadinovich. And all of a sudden, an on-base barrage for the Phinz. And up comes Mariah Sanchez. Another Mercer Bear trying to cash in on the opportunity for the Phinz to grab the lead here in the first inning. Orange Park, Florida native, sophomore last year. 300 average this summer with 2 RBIs, a double, and 4 runs. Quickly 0-2. Slow roller over to second base, and a little miscommunication will load the bases. Well, of all the hits Mariah Sanchez has this summer, that was probably the most unconventional. But they're loaded. Flores and Scott just didn't talk during that. Scott started to go for it. I think Flores was coming to cover the bag, and then Scott retreated. Flores was too far from the ball. And here is Maddie Ford. FGCL mainstay. The last couple seasons. Campbell Camel, sophomore last year out of Melbourne, Florida, who started at Eastern Florida State. She'll take ball 1. Ford hitting .400. 4 of 10 with a couple RBIs, a home run, 2 doubles, 3 runs, 5 walks, a .600 on-base percentage. Great pitch by Ponick, 1-1. Ford towards right field, and on the run to make the catch is Thomas. That's deep enough to bring in a runner. And Taylor scores 2-1 Phinz on the sac fly. Abby Sars, the future Virginia Tech Hokie, takes ball 1. Incoming freshman out of Prince George, Virginia, going to play for our friend and pal, the great Pete Demore. Runner goes, the throw down will get her. Great delivery from Patterson. Sanchez was trying to take second, but she is caught stealing, and it's just 2 runs for the Phinz here in the first. Off and running on field 1. 2-1 your score going to the second. Braden back out to work in the circle for the Phinz as we go to the second with the bottom of the order due up for the Aquanauts. Starting off with the Portaler, Gracie Scott. Played at Furman last year. Scott, the freshman from Lexington, South Carolina. Quickly 2-0. Scott, 0 for 9 this summer, has scored twice. There's a strike, 2-1. Well, over on the other field, we do have action. There was a little bit of a delay. Now the 3-1. That's outside. Scott takes the walk. We're going to see the Knots be really patient, I think, today. Over on the other field. They're in the bottom of the first. It's 2-0 Circus over to the Rodeo. And strike one to Alina Ball. Pitt versus Pitt here. Couple Panther teammates facing off, and Braden is going to throw it high. Was trying to get it to second and get the lead runner. But the throwing error will put 2 on. Right idea. As Alina Ball just shot that right up the middle. She'll reach on the E1. And there's nobody out for Maddie Johnson, who shows bunt. Big weapon in the arsenal for the portaling Maddie Johnson out of George Mason. Looking for a new home after spending her freshman season with GMU. That's fouled. 1-1. Haymarket, Virginia native Maddie Johnson, who's been also really good. And I kind of love having her in the 10 spot. Give her a chance to turn the lineup over. Hitting .583, 7 of 12, 4 RBIs, a double, 4 runs. Can play small ball, can line it up and barrel it as well. Out to center. That's down for a base hit. Chance to get the runner at third, and it won't be a hit. It's a fielder's choice. Scott held up and then just didn't get to third. And it's the classic 8-5 fielder's choice. And 1 down for the top of the order. That wild pitch gets away. Both runners move up after ball 1 to Jada Thomas, who walked and scored in the first. And now that base running snafu from Gracie Scott looms even larger, because that wild pitch would have scored a run. 2-0 to Thomas. That's high and tight. 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk. So Jada Thomas just taking her bases every chance she gets. Still no hits yet for the Aquanauts, but they're loaded with 1 out for the Florida Gator, Cassidy McClellan. Strike 1. McClellan walked back in the first. And again, she's got 2 home runs here this summer. That is a jam shot out to center. Schiller's got it, and nowhere to go. 1 run will come in. RBI single for McClellan. First hit of the ball game for the Aquanauts. And we're tied up at 2. Now passing the baton Down to Flores, who grounded out her first time up. Throw down to third, and they got her. And we might have a challenge. We'll take a look. Please hold.
How many sauces do you want?
So it's the second out of the inning, as Brittany gives me my Chick-fil-A sauce. Officially out at third base. That is the call. We looked at it. At best, it was indisputable, but I honestly think she was out, and that'll end the inning very quickly. A ground out will head us, or send us, I should say, to the bottom of the second, all tied up at 2 here on field 1. 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the second. 7, 8, 9 due up for the Phinz. SARS was at the plate when the bottom of the first ended on the caught stealing, so now we get to see the incoming freshman going to Virginia Tech yet again. Abby SARS takes it 2-1. She's 0 for 3 with a run scored here this summer. And way out in front of a change right there. Kamponic back in the circle after giving up a couple runs in the early going. She'll get the strikeout. First of the day for Ponick. It's really good stuff to start the inning, 1 down. Now Lily Palante late on that swing, 0-1. Another one going to Virginia Tech, another incoming freshman out of Charlottesville, Virginia. So a Charlottesville native going to be a Hokie. Wonder what the story is there. And went to school at the Miller School, which I've been to. So I went to high school up in Orange, Virginia, and I think I took the SAT, maybe, at Miller School. Outside to Palante, who's hitting .333 this summer. 4 of 12 with 3 RBIs, a run scored, 467 OBP. And a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ponick to start the bottom of the second. Now bring up Faith Whitted out of Walters State Community College. Freshman last year from Jefferson County, Tennessee. Fouls off the first pitch. Whitted 0 for 5 this summer, does have an RBI and has scored 3 runs. Why? Because she's walked 6 times. So a batting average of 0, but an OBP of 500 here this summer so far. 0-2. That's a great job settling in. Kamponic strikes out the side. And we've played 2, tied up at 2 here on field 1. 4-5-6 for the Aquanauts here in the third. And Borison, with the RBI ground out, her first time up, takes strike one. Braden back to work in the circle. 2 runs allowed, only one of those earned. She's given up 1 hit. Walks have been an issue. She has walked 6. But just the 2 runs in, Borison hits it over to first, backhanded well by Franzen. 1 down. And I'll bring up the former Red Raider, Sydney Schiller. Schiller walked in the first inning. Schiller, part of a pretty large group, popping out of the portal, or I should say into the portal from Texas Tech. A lot of discussion about the activities of the Red Raiders here the last few weeks. And now Schiller looking for a new home. We'll see when she makes that announcement while we're here, if she does it while we're here. Scoreboard update over on the other field. Bottom of the second, 3-2 Circus over the Rodeo. Here we're tied at 2, and here's the 1-2 from Braden. Oh, pretty. Whipped out the change and got her. 2 down. Braden's tried to throw that pitch 3 or 4 times today. By far, that's the best one. And Schiller had really no options except to kind of half-heartedly go after it. I'll bring up Caroline Patterson, the MVP from last year, who walked in the first. Ball 1. That one definitely high, 2-0. Glad you're with us here in the press box tower. Gray Robertson up in the booth. Special guest Brittany Purser, head coach of the Slice, is up here waiting on her game at 2:30. Producer Gracie is literally producing calls in the field. She is the field ump for this game and the next game. So, Brittany, maybe you should have brought her food. 2-1 to Patterson. That misses low and away. 3-1. Patterson kind of off the end of the bat out to right, and it'll fall and get by. Morgan had to just squeak under her glove. Patterson's heading for third. She'll slide in safely with a 2-out triple. Morgan, I think, was just caught in between, was thinking, do I dive, do I hold up, and kind of did a little of both. And because of that, the ball, with these soft conditions, just kind of slow hopped right under the glove and then had some roll on it, like a Rory McIlroy tee shot. It was well backed up in center, but man, after all the work to get the first 2 batters, runner on third, 2 gone. And a first pitch ball to Skylar Young, who grounded out to end the first inning. His first triple of the summer for the MVP, Caroline Patterson. Now 3-0. So now 2 hits in the game for the Aquanauts. Neither has been mashed. That might be the hardest hit of all. RBI single for Skylar Young. And the Notch just in the late stages, last possible minute here in the top of the third, grab the lead back 3-2. And a good piece of hitting by Skylar Young, her 3rd RBI this summer. I'll bring up Gracie Scott, who walked in the 2nd. Ball 1. A really tough beat for Braden. Two and out. Well, everything Braden has thrown, arm side, outer half, that's been the best stuff. You've seen a couple good change-ups for the most part, which he's attacked out, especially to the righties. That's where she's had the most success today. There was some action in the pin for the Phinz. Didn't see who it was. Runner goes, and the great throw by Ford was just a hair late. Young safe at 2nd, full count for Gracie Scott. And a swing and a miss. So all's well that ends well, but a lead for the Knots thanks to the 2-out triple from Patterson and the RBI single from Skylar Young. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, 3-2. Phinz will look to answer when we come back. First pitch to Alexis Morgan to begin the bottom of the 3rd is heading into foul ground and will get out of play. It's the top of the order with Michaela Franzen serving as the flex today. So Morgan, Braden, and Taylor. And the portaling Alexis Morgan goes down 0-2. Didn't really get to talk about Alexis her first time up. Centerville, Virginia native, who was a sophomore last year for the Knights. Earlier today, grounded out. It's been hard to get her out. Entered hitting over 500 on the summer. Thought she went for a moment there, but held off. Average now at Well, she's 8 of 15. If you have a calculator handy, please calculate it yourself. 533. Couple doubles, 4 RBIs, 5 runs. And that's a slow slap to the circle. Ponick's got it for the first out. So good job by Ponick getting Morgan. Now can she get Amari Braden, who's done just about everything you want from her in the circle today, and she's already hit a home run at the plate. It was her first home run of the summer. Average up to 286. That is sent towards my car. Did it hit my car? What car did it hit?
A little bit.
It hit a little? It hit my car? Okay. If I lose a windshield.
No, it hit the floor first.
Okay. 2-1. If I bust out a windshield, y'all got it the rest of the summer. I'm dipping and fixing it. My car. I already have a broken windshield from driving to Texas, getting a rock lodged up there. Long story. 2-1 on Braden. 3-1 from Cam Ponick. Boy, Braden is just so tough. I mean, she the entire time is showing bunt, showing slap, pulling back, going back. There's a lot going on, and now she has reached twice. Homer and a walk, 1 out base runner for the Phinz here in the third. For Jesse Taylor, who walked and scored. She went. Keep in mind, Braden, 4 stolen bases already this summer. That's one of the highest totals in the league. But she's going. Thought about it. 1-1. There goes Braden. The throw from Patterson was beautiful, but not fielded cleanly. And Braden's got the steal. Two and two on Taylor. It was a really good throw, and then coming over and covering was Johnson at short. And she just couldn't quite bring it in all the way and make the tag. Just a little clunky at the very end. Now the Mercer Bear, Jesse Taylor, trying to tie this game yet again. This is popped up. Johnson has it, 2 down. But it is Paige Vukadinovich. Average now at 500. Singled in the first. She's got the team leading 7 RBIs. Big cut, 0-1. In fact, the 7 RBIs, second most in the FGCL, right behind Emma Brinkman from the Slice. Only 5 players have 6 RBIs or more. And Vukadinovic is going to add one more because here comes Braden. With her blazing speed, this game is tied. Give Vukadinovic RBI number 8. Tied for the league lead, and we're all tied up at 3. Now here's Mariah Sanchez. She singled in the first inning but was caught stealing. It's a very good pitch by Kamponic, 2-0. Viewers and listeners at home, if you ever wonder what I think of a call, you can probably find out based on my analysis before a ball. That one fouled, 2-1. I do have many friends in umpiring. I understand that this is a tough job. Mistakes happen, but part of my job is also pointing out those mistakes. It's the whole analysis portion. It's a great changeup, 2-2. You can almost see Ponick standing there saying, okay, and go here, after letting that one out of her hand. Just located beautifully. Went back to it as a foul ball. Full count. Over on the other field, they're also bottom 3. 3-2 the score there, as it was here moments ago. Now all tied up at 3. And a 3-2 count to Sanchez, who will see it again. Oh. The throw in from the Phinz dugout sailed high. Ponick ready. Another 3-2 to Sanchez. Another one to shallow left. And Vukadinovic will run home. The throw by Patterson wasn't caught. Now Sanchez heads for third. And the Phinz grab a 4-3 lead. So Sanchez at third, reached there after an RBI single, advanced on a throw, and then took third on a throwing error from out in left by Ball. And now a first pitch ball to Abby Sars, who struck out, I beg your pardon, this Maddie Ford. Sars on deck. Ford has a sac fly. She'll take strike one, 1-1. Well, we're well over an hour now here between these two teams, and It's going to be that type of game. Back and forth we go. 1-2. And it's not like the Phinz, outside of the home run by Braden, are really just smacking around Ponick. Last two hits have just found spots. Vukadinovic and Sanchez right into shallow left field. Ford out to right. Thomas has it. Inning over. But innings like this are why it's so hard to be a pitcher. The Phinz find some spots and get 2 runs in. And we go to the fourth. 4-3. We'll see if the Knots have a response when we come back. First pitch, Alina ball out towards the new center fielder. And Faith Wittig couldn't grab it. Ball heading around second, looking for 3. She's got a leadoff triple. It was not the most beautiful slide in the world, but it'll work, and that's how you start a 4th inning if you're the Aquanauts. Down by a run, but the tying run is 60 feet away. Chin hitter Maddie Johnson. They can squeeze, bunted foul, into a fielder's choice in the second. It's the bottom of the order and then the top, 9-10-1. Ball, Johnson, and Thomas. As we continue to rock and roll in this back and forth affair. So 1-2. And Johnson lines that to second. That's really the one thing you didn't want to do. 1 down. And I apologize for a couple moments of quiet because I do have other duties as assigned for my other job at the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Alabama has just picked up a portal commitment. So we go to the top of the order. Jada Thomas, who's walked twice. Ooh, just outside. Two and one. Four three. Phinz lead. Knots threatening to tie. Just looking for something to bring in ball. That'll work. Single up the middle. RBI for Jada Thomas. And yet again, this game is even. Oh boy, don't go anywhere. This has been so good. Third RBI of the summer for Thomas. Tied up at 4 here in the fourth. And Cassidy McClellan, who's always dangerous. 1 for 1 with a walk, an RBI single, and don't forget those 2 home runs that she's got this summer, which is time for the league lead. See if anyone can break through and get 3 first. The Knots are starting to square up Braden a little bit more this third time through. It's with each subsequent move through the order, making the adjustment, getting a little bit better contact. Kind of feels like if McClellan gets a mistake, she's just going to really rip it. 2-0. The thing that helps Braden, though, is frankly the amount of walks and amount of 3-ball counts. It's been hard for the Aquanauts to really pick anything to go after because the strike rate has been so low. 4-pitch walk. Two on, 1 out. And there's Gracie Flores, who probably wants to get in on the hit parade. I think she'll be doing that against a new pitcher. A change coming for the Phinz in this tie ball game. 4-4 in the top of the fourth here on field 1. So Braden leaves the game, and the new pitcher in is Ella Torres out of Florida Southern, the sophomore righty from Parrish, Florida. Says hello with ball 1 to Gracie Flores. Give you the numbers for Torres this summer. Flores into the wind, out towards left field. This is going to be trouble, and it's off the base of the fence. Jada Thomas will race home. The Knots are in front on the RBI single from Gracie Flores. Because it was almost caught McClellan, everyone really was having to hold up, but nothing was stopping Thomas. She comes in, 5-4 Aquanauts. Quickly, Torres on the summer has gone 4 innings, 18 hits, 16 runs, 15 earned. 3 walks and a strikeout, 0-1 a record. And Karis Pierce will hit now here in the 4th spot for Emily Borison. In front of the changeup, 1-1. The USF Bull. Karis Pierce hitting .385. 5 of 13 with a couple RBIs and a double as well. Give you Braden's line in just a moment. So skips in 2-2. Big part in 3-2. Foul. Braden is responsible for McClellan at second base, so our line's not finalized yet, but Omari Braden went 3 1/3, 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 7 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Aquanauts have grabbed the lead back, looking for more. Wind picking up as Pierce hits another car. Not mine. My car is fine. It's little things. The 3-2 is outside, ball 4. And this kind of feels like the moment for the Knots. They're 4-0. And right now is when they make the move. With Sydney Schiller, who's 0 for 1 with a K and a walk. Looking for her first hit this summer. Instead, it's a line out to second and a double play. Flores just too far off second base. And instead of a big inning, it's just 2 runs and a 1-run lead for the Knots. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Phinz have answered the call basically every time. They'll try and do it again when we return here on Field 1. New pitcher for the Aquanauts as we start the bottom of the fourth. 7, 8, 9, Sars, Palante, and Whitted. And they're facing the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, Timber Harris. Abby Sars struck out in the second. Head 2-0 against Timber Harris. Freshman out of Vidalia, Georgia. Give you her summer numbers. 4.38 ERA, 8 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs all earned, 8 walks, 10 Ks. Back and forth we go. An hour and a half in to the broadcast at least. 5-4 Aquanauts. Now the 3-1. Ball 4. So the walk will put Sars aboard and bring up Lily Palante. I meant to mention this earlier. But if there's anybody from the Palante family tuning in, you can tweet me at Gray, Gray_Robertson. As well as anybody. I want to hear from you during this broadcast at Gray, Gray_Robertson. Let us know where you're watching and how you're spending this Wednesday. Palante struck out in the second. Mentioned Palante being from Charlottesville but going to Virginia Tech. I spent some time in Blacksburg and Christiansburg. Called a swim meet back in high school there. The Christiansburg Aquatic Center. One and two. Harris gets the strikeout. That's kind of been the MO this summer. Followed up the walk with the K. One down here in the fourth. Strike one to Faith Whitted, who struck out in the second. And that hitter, so a free pass, will put runners on first and second with one out. Kamponic relieved of her duties after going 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs all earned, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And back to the top of the order with the portaling Alexis Morgan is 0 for 2. She'll take strike one. Outside. Over on the other field, throwback to first, not in time. Over on the other field, top 4, it's the Circus 5, the Rodeo 3. Here it's 5-4. So again, in the time slots, both fields have kind of followed each other's script. Morgan in the air to left. This is going to fall and go all the way to the fence. Sars is going to round third and coming to score. This game is tied again after a long RBI single from Alexis Morgan. And the Phinz with Alexis Morgan right there at first base just keep answering. Amari Braden has been great today. Got the start in the circle. Now the DP, extra hitter, I believe. Yes. Solo homer in the first, a walk in the third. She scored twice. She can lay it down too, and I can't help but notice where the corners are playing for the Aquanauts. There's one out. If Braden wanted to plop a bunt down, I'm pretty sure she'd beat it. Young just playing really deep at third. She'll scoot up now. There's the bunt, but it's foul. Foul ball. Well struck by Braden. Called strike 3. Harris took a bit off and got Braden looking for the second out. I'll bring up Jessie Taylor, who's walked and popped out. She's also scored once. Strike 1. There is really no wind here today either. I mean, there was this morning, but things have settled a good bit. It's kind of sticky and stifling here at Palmasola right now. This will drift out of play. 0-2. Timber Harris trying to keep this game tied. The Phinz evened it with the RBI single from Alexis Morgan. And now a blooper that'll go foul. Swing and a miss. Timber Harris strikes out the side, but a run does come in thanks to the RBI single from Morgan, and we're off to the fifth, all tied up. What a ball game here on Field 1 to start our doubleheader. The MVP, Patterson, starts off with a 2-0 count against Ella Torres. As the Knots yet again try and grab the lead. We're all tied up at 5. 6, 7, 8 due up, Patterson, Young, and Scott. And a 3-0 count now on Caroline Patterson. A walk and a triple. She's scored once here today. There's strike one. Patterson out to right. This is trouble. That is a fair ball. And Morgan didn't get it cleanly. Now the throw to second. She'll be safe. And it's a double for Patterson. And the Phinz coach is going to argue with Gracie. All right, so we'll see what the ruling is. Right now it's a double for Patterson to lead off the inning. Or is it a single out at second? And it is indeed a leadoff double, and immediately the go-ahead run in scoring position. Well, one to Skylar Young, who's had a good day. 1 for 2 with an RBI single. It's a good change. 2-1. Out to right. Morgan's got it. Patterson thought about it and then hightailed it back to second. 1 away. There's Gracie Scott. A walk and a strikeout for the Portaling Paladin. Played for Furman last year. 2-0 on Scott. It's a good pitch by Torres. Ella Torres, kind of a tough debut. For the Phinz. Was stuck in that crazy game yesterday against the Pioneers where it just felt like both offenses were totally on it from the word go. But mixing speeds well here. Now a 2-2 outside, full count. Go back to the change, right? I mean, that's what I would call right here. Tried, but it missed. Ball 4. And up comes Alina Ball, who reached on an error and scored in the second, tripled and scored in the fourth. First pitch strike. Tied up at 5. Ball over the head of a shortstop and all the way back to the left center gap. Patterson will score. Here comes another runner, and Scott will cross to give the Knots a 2-run lead. 2 RBI double for Alina Ball, and her big day continues. Whitted had just moved back with Vukadinovich, and that ball snuck right over the shortstop Palante. Now first pitch ball to Maddie Johnson, who's 0 for 2. 2-0. Now, of course, the Phinz will have opportunities to answer. We're just in the top of the fifth, and the Phinz have found a way to respond pretty much every opportunity they've had. And there have been plenty. This is 5 innings and 5 frames where the Aquanauts have scored. Great bunt that'll roll foul. Just checked and turned left for Johnson. 2-1. Two and two. Oh, beg your pardon. Strikeout. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm not crazy. Sometimes it's good to know that it wasn't your fault. 2 and 2. A new life for Maddie Johnson. Can she take advantage? No, there's the strikeout. 2 down. Nice shot by Torres. Immediately attacking. And back to the top of the order with Jada Thomas, who's been superb today. Doing leadoff things. 2 walks and an RBI single. One and one. As planes fly overhead. A little bit more of a cloudy day. We had a massive storm last night. That's why the 9:30 games were canceled, because the field was soaked. I mean, it woke me up at one point, about 1:30, just crazy thunder and lightning. Thomas skies this out towards right field, and now Morgan will find it. 2 in the inning, but 2 runs in for the Knots. They've got the lead yet again, 7-5, and the Phinz will once again have to answer, down by 2. Seven to 5 your scores. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Coming up a little bit later, it is the Sea Cows and the Slice. That is scheduled for 2:30 Eastern. Pretty sure we're not going to make that as we near 2 hours here in this game. Vukadinovic, 4-5-6, due up for the Phinz. Vukadinovic, Sanchez, and Ford against Timber Harris. And some Georgia Tech teammates get to face off. And can Timber Harris solve the puzzle that is currently Paige Vukadinovic? She has been red hot. Drove in her 8th run of the summer in the 3rd. Tied for the league lead. 2 for 2 days so far. Very interesting to see the way the Aquanauts outfield is playing Vukadinovic. They're staying away from her, 2-0. Not sure Paige is going to get a strike here as Patterson goes to have a word with Harris. So a lot of Yellow Jackets involved with Vukadinovic at the plate, Patterson behind the dish, Timber Harris pitching. Shout out to Eileen Morales if she's watching. Hi, Coach. And I get to see all these fine folks opening weekend in 2026 because that's where Alabama will be. I will say hello to all of them and hopefully call all of their names. That one curves in for a strike, 3-1. Got a little antsy there, full count. That is a foul ball. I agree. Not that there's anything anybody can do about it because it was ruled foul, so not reviewable. So we'll do it again. Another 3-2 from Timber Harris. Vukadinovic got something inside and popped it up and out of play. Left and foul. Well, all these teammates like spend time with each other. Lengthy battle between Harris and Vukadinovic. I need to corral those foul balls as well. Vukadinovic again got something inside and found a gap. Cut off by Morgan. Or I beg your pardon, cut off by Thomas and Wright. That's a leadoff double for Vukadinovic. That's exactly what the Phinz want. Paige continues her torrid pace. 3 for 3 in this game. Now Mariah Sanchez, who's followed up Vukadinovic well today, steps in. She's 2 for 2 with an RBI. Ball 1. That's foul. And ball 4. So 2 aboard, tying run on base for the Phinz. And Maddie Ford, who's 0 for 1 with 2 nice pieces of hitting, a sac fly and a fly out to right. She'll try and make a true dent right here. She swung it well, Timber Harris. Trying to keep the knots in front. There's a strike. And the play at third won't be made. So 1-1, they're on the corners. Ford, down and left. Vukadinovic will come in to score. And the Phinz claw closer. 7-6. Second RBI of the day for Maddie Ford. She's got 4 this summer now, and the tying run is on second base. Abby Sars has a strikeout and a walk to her name. Scored a run. She'll take ball 1. Sars waved at and missed. 1-2. Harris right now just trying to find an out here in this 5th. Aquanauts 4-0, trying to move to 5-0. There's the K. 4th strikeout for Timber Harris. All of her outs have been recorded via the K. 1 away here in the 5th. Lily Palante is 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts, 1 against Harris. That one soars too high, 1-0. Kind of bizarre because Palante had only struck out once in 12 ABs coming into today. Hasn't seen it well. Trying to adjust here in the 5th. She does have 3 RBIs here this summer. And now she's got a 3-0 count. Oh, I thought she went. Yep, she did. 3-1. That's a tough one. That was ball 4 for sure. And there's ball 4. Basically the same pitch. And they're loaded. So an AB upcoming for Michaela Franzen here in the 5th. Walter State Community College product Franzen moving in from the flex and taking strike 1. Franzen is 1 for 5 with an RBI, a couple runs scored as well. 429 OBP. Trying to tie up this ball game. Tying run on third with 1 out. Foul away, 1-2. And the strikeout for Harris. Continuing the trend, 5 outs recorded, 5 strikeouts, and back to the top of the order with Alexis Morgan. Morgan 1 for 3 with an RBI. That RBI single was off of Timber Harris in the 4th. 0-1. For the Aquanauts pitching staff, we have not seen Aiko Conaway yet. Would not be shocked if we did see the former Marshall pitcher who's going to Howard at some point before we close out. Morgan to center field, but this is going to be caught. Oh boy, that was not uncomplicated for Sydney Schiller, but she makes the catch, and the Phinz leave them loaded. They do get 1, but we go to the 6th with the Aquanauts leading by a run. Cassie McClellan will take a first pitch strike here in the 6th. Aquanauts will have 2-3-4 set to face Torres, McClellan, Flores, and Pierce. Cassie McClellan has been all over the place today. 2 walks and an RBI single. So we now have stretched well beyond 2 hours here at Field 1. And still no real definite answer on what the result might be, because the Phinz have been game. The Aquanauts have kept throwing punches. The Phinz have answered. And now McClellan reaches for the changeup and sends it to Vukadinovic for the first out. And so we'll get Torres versus Flores. Gracie Flores 1 for 3 with an RBI single. A couple ground outs as well. That's pretty. 0-1. Brembaka over there leading the charge for the Aquanauts. Third base coaching box. Said she felt like if her team could put together the hits, they'd be fine. They certainly have today, but the Phinz on the other side have just kept answering. Seven runs on 8 hits for the Aquanauts in this ballgame. Phinz with 6 runs on 8 hits as that gets out of play. 1-2. Just miss with that screwball. 2-2. Over on the other field. Bottom 6, 5-3. Circus over the rodeo. Another changeup hit by Flores out to center and over the head of Vukadinovic. Flores will be safe at second base. That was very close. That's a 1-out double. Flores did not decide to slide, and that almost led to a put out in the field. But instead, another run in scoring position for the Aquanauts. And Karis Pierce, who walked in the 4th, replacement for Emily Borison. Try and build that lead up. New catcher in the ballgame is Abby Sars, by the way. She's flipped with Maddie Ford. So Sars behind the dish, catching for Torres. Now 2-0 on Pierce. And ball 4. So Pierce walks yet again. That is the 10th walk given up by Phinz pitching today. And overall in this game, we have had 15 total walks. Sydney Schiller takes the strike. Schiller, a walk, a strikeout, and a liner into a double play in the fourth. Outside, 2-2. Little high, full count. And a swing and a miss. Torres gets the K, 2 down. Now Caroline Patterson, who's 2 for 2 with a double, a triple, and a walk. That misses. Patterson crushes it way out of here. The MVP flexes with a 3-run shot. 10-6 Aquanauts. And with the wind picking up right as that at-bat was rolling, Patterson launches her first home run of the summer, and now she is a single short of the cycle. We have never had a cycle in the FGCL, but Caroline Patterson just needs a single to get there. All the way back, ball one to Skylar Young. Popped up. Skylar Young sends it over to short. Catch made. Inning over. But 3 runs for the Aquanauts. They yet again score. They've found a way to get something across in every inning. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-run lead for the Knots. Well, as we go to the bottom of the 6th, let's say hello to the newest member of the Howard Bison, Aiko Conaway, transferring from Marshall to play for our friend the great Tori Tyson. And she's coming in here in the bottom of the 6th, facing a dangerous part of the Phinz order, 2-3-4, starting with Amari Braden. Braden's been great today, now facing Conaway, who's been really good this summer. 2.80 ERA, 2-0 record. 10 innings, 11 hits, 4 runs all earned, a walk, and 5 Ks. 2-0 on Braden. Solo homer, walk, and a strikeout looking here in this game. One defensive flip. Johnson is now at second. Pierce at short. Ball 4. So Braden's on. And she will go back to first. Getting a little cheeky, but I like it. Oh no, check that. So he checked down and said she swung, so just kidding. Let's go backwards. It's now a 3-1 count. And there's ball 4. So it all works out. I bring up Jesse Taylor, who's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run. Strike 1 from Conaway. Phinz have scored in all but the second inning. That was when Panik just kind of went on a tear and struck out the side. Offense galore, lots of base runners, a lot of walks. And Patterson will call time. Well, coming up next on this field, they've been warming up for a while. It'll be the Sea Cows and the Slice. Conaway trying to bear down here. Slow roller to second base. There's one play. It's made. And there's one down. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Taylor just didn't run at all. Braden on second. And here is Paige Vukadinovic. And if I am the outfield for the Aquanauts, I am taking at least 2 steps back. Paige is 3 for 3 with a double, an RBI, couple runs scored. That's foul. Oh and 2. Vukadinovic to left, and that'll get all the way off the fence. Braden's going to score. Vukadinovic continues to rake. 4 for 4 and a second RBI to make it 10-7. Man, why is she hitting in the 4 spot? Just so good from Vukadinovic. And right behind her, you got Sanchez. She's got a couple hits and a walk. Over on the other field, they're going to the bottom of the 7th, and the Rodeo and the Circus are all tied up at 5. So just a lot of long, good games here in the noon session. Oh and 2 on Sanchez. Mariah Sanchez. Adam Mercer. And the Bear grounds it towards second. Tough play, not in time. Infield single for Sanchez. She's 3 for 3. How about 4 and 5 in the Phinz order? A combined 7 for 7 with 8 times on base. And here comes the tying run. Matty Ford, sac fly, fly out, and an RBI single. This game has been off the rails. Just every second you think you've got it figured out, there's been a curveball. With runners on the corners. Ford will ground that to short. It's misplayed. The throw to first is scooped. A run will score. It's 10-8. That's a really good recovery by the switched over shortstop Karis Pierce. Was probably thinking double play, instead just gets out number 2. Abby Sars, 0 for 2, couple strikeouts and a walk here today. Still tying the tying run. Oh and 2. So yeah, if you're checking in to see if Sliced Sea Cows has started early, you're good. You probably got about another 30 minutes at least. Because once this game ends, we're still going to have to do all the stuff. Reset the field, get it cleaned up. Got to get lineups. Got to reset the broadcast. Just a lot of things. So don't worry. We'll get there, but we're not starting that game on time. Chopped over to Conaway, and she'll make the throw to end the inning. But a couple runs in for the Phinz, as has been tradition today. And we go to the 7th. Aquanauts will look for insurance. We'll see if Caroline Patterson can get one more AB when we come back. What's the score? 10-8. Top 7. Well, the Knots will look for insurance as we go to the 7th. Bottom of the order, Scott, Ball, and Johnson. 8, 9, 10 due up against Torres. Gracie Scott today, a couple walks and a strikeout. And a swing and a miss. 2-2. Full count. Oh, beg your pardon. That was ball 4. I think everybody was a little confused by the count there. Leadoff walk for the Knots here in the 7th. That one fouled away. Alina Ball, who's had a really good day, bunts it. Torres has it. The throw to first is in time on the sacrifice. And that moves Gracie Scott. Here's Maddie Johnson, who's 0 for 3. She bunts it foul. One and one. That'll head out of play, 2-2. And Johnson will lace it out to center field. Vukadinovich comes up throwing. Johnson will head to second on that throw. But they're on the corners with one out for the Aquanauts. And back to the top of the order. I said on the corners. That's wrong. Second and third. Strike one to Jada Thomas, who's 1 for 2. She scored twice, a couple walks as well. Take a little bit to get to Caroline Patterson, who's just a single short of the cycle. 10-8 Aquanauts. They're, as a team, more concerned about just getting some insurance and getting this win. 0-2. And a swing and a miss. How about a strikeout for Torres? Ella Torres gets the second out of the inning. And now she gets Cassidy McClellan, who's 1 for 2. Single, fly out, couple walks. RBI thrown in there as well. Two and oh. The Phinz in the bottom of the 7th will have the bottom of the order, 8, 9, and then back to the top with Morgan of a leadoff spot, due up. So this is not safe if you're the Aquanauts. Any extra insurance you can add would be huge. Ball 4. That's a third walk of a day drawn by McClellan, and for what seems like the 700th time in this ball game, the bases are loaded. Gracie Flores is 2 for 4. Strike one. RBI single, a double, couple groundouts for Gracie. Oh, and 2. We're closing in on 3 hours. The battle between these squads. Bases loaded for the Knots, but an 0-2 count. Torres just misses the edge on Flores, 1 and 2. That's foul right off the fencing. Aquanauts trying to bring somebody in. Gracie Flores has been reliable here in the 3 spot. She's been reliable all summer. Ella Torres trying to have her moment. Flores sends that to left. This catch will be made. Nicely handled out there by Whitted. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. The Phinz will try and battle back this back and forth game. They just held the Knots off the scoreboard for the first time. We'll see if the Phinz can tie it or walk it off, or if the Knots will stay unbeaten when we come back. Bottom 7, Palante will lead off. 8-9-1. Conaway trying to close the deal. Palante, Franzen is scheduled, I think. Yeah, it will be Franzen, and then back to the top with Morgan. That's high to Lily Palante. She's 0 for 2 with a couple Ks and a walk. One and two. Called strike 3. Beautiful changeup by Conaway for the first out. That's how you start the bottom of the 7th. So Michaela Franzen, who struck out in the 5th, try and get the tying run to the plate for the Phinz. Towards short. Handled. The throw from Pierce is in plenty of time. And the Aquanauts are an out away from staying unbeaten. But they've got to face the top of the Phinz order. And Alexis Morgan, who is 1 for 4 but has hit the ball well and has an RBI single today. Let's see how aggressive she is. She'll take strike 1. Conaway was aggressive. First pitch right in there. Coming up in about 30 minutes, it'll be, oh my gosh, it'll be 3:15. Be the slice and the sea cows. Morgan on the ground, slow roller. The flip is in time, and the Knots stay unbeaten. Aiko Conaway wanted none of the drama in the bottom of the 7th, and the 3-run homer by Caroline Patterson loomed very large in the end as the Knots move to 5-0. The Phinz fall to 3-2 on the summer. Time to get reset. We got Sea Cows and Slice coming up in about 30. We'll bring that to you right here at Field 1 for producer Gracie and everybody from the FGCL. I'm Gray Robertson saying so long as the Knots take down the Phinz 10-8 here on Field 1. We'll see you in just a bit for our second game of the doubleheader.